Can you hear me, man?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Yep, I'm in.
All right. This one
Awesome.
talk Super Bowl edition. This is gonna be a fun show. I think it's the game that everybody waits for every year.
I would agree.
I don't know if there's really any single day in sports that people really look forward to. People look forward to the World Series and the Olympics, but those are series or weeks upon weeks.
Right.
This is one day, one game,
Yep.
um, and so I would like to start. I think just we'll review how each team got here.
Right. Yep. The
Um,
championship games. Yep.
so why don't we start in the AFC with the Chiefs?
Sure.
Obviously, they were the number one seed in the AFC. Wait, no,
Number
yes,
two.
number two. Number two. I'm sorry,
Yeah. Yeah.
forgot about Baltimore because yeah, they lost.
Yeah. They've been sitting at home for a few weeks, so
So forgot about them. But
yeah.
they took out the Texans, and what
Yep.
people call comeback, this miraculous comeback. Yeah, it was a deficit, but it was in their own making. And to be
Yeah.
honest,
Yeah.
the Texans just didn't have the defense to hold that lead. And then they take on
Oh, there's no way. Yeah. The Texans defense either needs to get revamped, retooled, or redone, however you want to look at it in the offseason.
well, I think you look there, you got some veteran pieces on that defense that are
Yeah.
injury laden. J.J. Watt, great player, but I mean, I don't think he's played a full season since his second or third year in the league.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
he's way too many injuries.
so they need to look at that. But then they
Yeah.
take out the Tennessee Titans to win the AFC Championship, which, you know, you play who you have to play. But the Titans aren't a juggernaut. They were the surprise team of the playoffs,
Yep.
and we knew offensively the Titans were deficient, and that their
Yeah.
defense would have had to play lights out in the
Right.
championship game to beat the Chiefs. So they obviously didn't do that, and the Chiefs
Yeah.
returned to the Super Bowl for the first time since Super Bowl 4.
Yeah. It's been 50 years.
50 years.
And that's
You
the
know,
last time they won it too. Obviously, they lost to our Packers in Super Bowl one, but yeah, they haven't been there since Super Bowl four. So
so the Chiefs fans finally see their misery erased, unlike many other teams that are long waiting for their beloved team to at least
to
make
make
the
it there,
Super
yep,
Bowl. So flipping over to the NFC, San Francisco 49ers, obviously the number one seed in the NFC. They beat a Vikings team, which in my mind, they played well against the Saints in the first
yeah,
round, but I think the Saints just fell flat.
yeah. They laid an egg. I totally agree. I think you look at it, the Saints are just a better team, and it's more to me the Saints failing than the Vikings prevailing.
Right.
Yeah,
And so the 49ers going to the divisional round against the Vikings, which I'll give the Vikings credit. They kept the game close for a while.
yeah,
Uh, but they just didn't have the team to hold up to the 49ers, and the
no,
score seemed close. But if you watch that game, it was not really close. The 49ers physically dominated the Vikings.
yeah,
uh,
all the way across the board. I think, yeah,
and I think the 49ers were just playing just hard enough to keep some in the tank for the next week because they knew they were
right,
going to win that game.
yeah.
And then, of course, they beat the Packers in the title game, which didn't really shock either of us,
No, not at
uh,
all. No.
because I mentioned it in one of our first shows. I
Yeah.
thought the Packers were the least talented number 2 seed in the playoffs that I can remember in a long time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I did not expect the Packers to be where they got to. I thought they had a shot making the playoffs as a wild card.
Sure. I
Not
think we
making.
both thought that, 10 wins maybe or something, get in as a wild card. They overachieved, I think, maybe a little bit, but a testament to their coach, their schedule, however you want to look at it. But yeah, they just didn't have enough on the 49ers home turf. They got dominated.
Yeah,
And they just, yeah.
and no matter what that score was, 37-20, it wasn't even that close. 49ers again, I think, took their foot off the gas pedal when they knew they had the game kind of in the bag.
Yeah.
And rested some people. So
Yeah.
that brings us to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
So we'll just talk about the game, and I know we each took a team, and we're gonna make our case why we think that team wins. But let's just talk in general,
right.
because just because we're gonna make a case for that team does not mean that's gonna be our pick. So we will talk about this stuff, and then we'll make our predictions. So couple questions I had for the Chiefs. Can the Chiefs defense stop the 49er run game?
Right.
The 49er run game has been, well, at least against the Packers, unstoppable.
Well, let's just say though, I mean, that's kind of how Kyle Shanahan had set this team up from the get-go, right? I mean, he brought in Kyle Juszczyk, and they have just run something schematically that lends itself to running the ball and running the ball well, and they've done that with a variety of different people, not just Mostert, but a bunch of other guys.
Right,
and so that's just kind of how they that's their identity, that they want to do.
They have Coleman, who was out. Left the championship game with a shoulder injury.
Yeah, that did not look pretty actually. So
but the reports are that he will be back for the Super Bowl.
Yes. Yep.
I think even if you have an injury, if you can play through the pain at Super Bowl, you're a professional. You're a play through the pain.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if the Saints D can stop the 49ers run game, because
Chiefs D.
Oh yeah, the Chiefs D, sorry. Because the 49ers just didn't run it against the Packers. They slice and dice the Vikings too. Their cutback lanes were tremendous against the Vikings.
Yeah.
They were getting 5-6 yards of carry, didn't matter who touched the ball.
Right. Well, that was kind of my point. I mean, like, these guys aren't world beaters, right? Tevin Coleman and Mostert, and even when they run it with a receiver like a Deebo Samuel or something, it's the scheme that's working. It's not necessarily the guy that's working. These guys aren't Ezekiel Elliott or Derrick Henry or something. They're not really that good. It's just the scheme is working.
Right. So then my second question is, can Mahomes evade the 49er pass rush? He is very athletic, very gifted with his feet, can throw on the run. But, wow. The 49er pass rush, it reminds me back when Bill Cowher was coaching the Steelers. Mm-hmm. And it just seemed like every other play the Steelers were sacking or hitting the quarterback. It just reminded me of that style of defense.
Yeah. Greg Lloyd and Kevin Green kind of thing,
and then they have brought in James Harrison after that. I mean, it.
Oh, sure, right.
It was unbelievable. So those are my two questions for the Chiefs. Did you have anything that you thought that the Chiefs, questions about the Chiefs, just for our overall opinions, before we move forward?
No, I mean, those are the big things to me too. I look at the Chiefs, and that's where you're going to have the question mark, because last year, that's where they fell short, right? I mean, they played the Patriots in the championship game. Tony Romo basically called every single play New England was going to run, and the Chiefs didn't, realize it apparently, and they just couldn't stop it, especially in the fourth quarter. Their defense was tired. So if there's any question marks about what they can do, it's got to be on the defensive side. I look at the offense and I say, well, yes, I mean, I agree with you. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Mahomes. But offensively, I think they're going to be able to do some things throughout the game. So I'm less concerned about that. Really, the question mark for me is, can they stop the run game of the 49ers? Or if Jimmy Garoppolo has to throw it, can they put some pressure on him? I think defensively, that's the absolute biggest question mark for the game, for them.
All right.
So
we flip gears to the 49ers.
Yep.
Gonna start with my first thought was, can their defense continue to be dominant as they were in the first two playoff games?
Right.
All indicators say yes.
Right.
But I've seen it numerous times throughout my years coaching and playing. Teams that have dominated a couple of games tend to have a little bit of letdown eventually. When you put that much emotion in, and then you talk about, they have a really young defense besides Richard Sherman,
right,
and then Dee Ford. Those are only the really two great experienced playoff guys that they have.
There's not a lot of experience there.
So you just wonder, will the spot become so much that they come out so hyped up that they make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be a downfall of their defense. Will it happen? Don't know. I think their defensive coordinator is one of the best in the league. So I think his scheme will be solid.
That nobody waited to hire as a coach.
Yeah, nobody waited to hire. I'm telling you, I'd have sat on my hands and been like, I'm waiting until after the Super Bowl. But they just had to have them. So
I just don't get that. I mean, I don't know, that's an aside and that's a different discussion for another podcast, but man, really?
And when we start previewing free agency and talking about teams, we'll get into that.
We'll get into that. Yeah, exactly.
And then my second question, can the 49ers win solely with the run game? So what I mean by that is, can they control the clock and keep the ball away from the Chiefs? Because I'll tell you right now, if it becomes a shootout, this is not a game.
No.
This is not a game. Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49er receivers are not the same as Pat Mahomes and the skill guys of the Chiefs.
No, they're not.
Because any time that Mahomes can get the ball into one of their hands, they can go the distance. Except maybe, I can't think of his name now, Sammy Watkins. He's more of the just toss it up in the red zone. He'll go up and make a possession catch. Everybody else, though, you dump it off 5-10 yards, they could go 80, 90 yards.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, you've got a guy like Kittle who he's great if you give him the ball and he can make something out of it, and he's great at that position. And we rated him the number one tight end out of the four teams that were there. But I mean, the Chiefs just have more of those guys on offense. The 49ers have that. They don't have a guy who, because we talked about that in our trust ratings, who do you trust the most? And he's the only guy that really comes out somewhere at the top of the list offensively, and the 49ers have no one else at that spot.
Right. So those are my questions for the 49ers. I do have one X factor, and some people may argue, not really a huge X factor.
Robbie Gould.
No, not Robbie Gould. My X factor is Andy Reid.
Oh, okay. All right.
He has more experience in these types of situations. He's been to the Super Bowl as a head coach and lost a close game.
Yes.
Yes, Shanahan was there with Atlanta and they blew a 28-3 lead, blah, 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 blah. He was an offensive coordinator. He was not the one that had to call the shots. He wasn't the one who had to answer to fans, ownership, the press, of why he made a certain decision at a certain time. Andy Reid has.
Totally different amount of pressure. Not only that, but just to add on to what you're saying, I mean, Andy Reid has had to answer those questions 1,000 times. I mean, yes, he had the Super Bowl, but all of those championship games too that he's fell short in. He's been in those pressure situations so many times and dealing with that. Yeah.
So that I give the edge there that he'll be the X factor. Andy Reid's going to either win or lose the Super Bowl, I think, for the Chiefs by his decision making.
Okay. All right. I like it. Yeah.
So we'll get to our overall predictions at the very end.
Sure. Right. Yeah.
So we'll set up the next part of the show here. So at the end of the show last week, we decided that I think we were off the air when we did this. So I gave you the pick. You're going to make the case for the Chiefs.
That's right.
And I'm going to make the
case for the
49ers on why we think they will win.
Yes.
So I think the fun way to do this is not to really say, okay, you go do all the Chiefs, I go do all the 49ers, but we go back and forth with points. I think that will kind of make it a little bit fun because then we can try to kind of debate and debunk some facts.
Or just even some opinions, I mean.
or some opinions and or some chiding and
sure, a little bit. Oh yeah, why not?
Go from there. So since you got to pick, I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay.
Your first reason why you think the Chiefs will win the Super Bowl.
Okay. So we talked about this a little bit already in terms of the run game for the 49ers. So the Chiefs have not given up a lot of rush yards in the postseason. Okay, so I looked at this against the Texans combined. Out of all the rushers against the Texans, they didn't give up over 100 yards rushing. And then, the next week they face the rush leader, potentially the MVP of the league, offensive player of the year, whatever you're going to give him. I don't know. You gave him the MVP. They held Derrick Henry in check. So the 49ers have built themselves up as a rushing team. That's their calling card. That's what we talked about. The Chiefs haven't really given it up on the ground in the postseason. So I think that, the strength of the 49ers is there, and the Chiefs are going to negate that strength, and that makes it a lot harder for the 49ers to pull this off.
Okay, so my only argument against the, you said that they shut down Derrick Henry and this. My only thing was it's a great job, but they saw what I think the Ravens did not see. Make Ryan Tannehill beat you. Stack the box. I just don't think the Texans figured that out until late in the game, and by then it was too late. It was kind of like, we were talking about the Packers 49ers, after the first quarter, stack the box, make Garoppolo beat you. Packers didn't do that. They got ran out of the stadium.
Well, they didn't even play mostly. I mean, they were like running dime and nickel and dime packages most of the time. It made no sense. So
that would be my only thing with that part of it.
Sure.
But very good point.
Yeah.
Now, I'll kind of stay the same way. Yes, the 49ers, have kind of developed into a run team. Now, I'm going to say kind of the same argument.
Okay.
I think you look at the defensive line for the 49ers.
Yeah.
They have unbelievable depth. So when they rotate guys through, they don't really drop off much. They're get back
Sure.
D Ford. You have DeForest Buckner, Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Solomon Thomas, all going against that Chiefs offensive line. Now, we know that the Chiefs like to spread the ball out. Their running game is usually more quick passing games, or it's going to be like the jet sweep type of runs. They're not really going to run straight at you. So I think that plays into the hands of the 49ers defense. Because I think if you run straight at them, you can kind of get them a little bit. But I think the 49ers pass rush is so unbelievable that it is going to get into Mahomes' head a little bit. Again, this comes down. This is first time in the big game.
Sure.
So I think if they get to him early, which I think they will.
Yep.
Because they've proven they can. Good luck blocking Bosa.
Yeah.
I think you hit Mahomes early, and he will at least come back down to earth. He won't play in the atmosphere like he has been. He'll come back down to earth, be a standard quarterback, and he'll start thinking a little bit more than just playing. So that's my first point of why I think the 49ers will win on Sunday.
Sure. I mean, I think that, the Titans have a pretty good defense too, and I think they tried to really get after Mahomes. But I would say this. I think you're making the 49ers D-line out to be like the 85 Bears or something. I mean, they're good, but I don't think they're that good. I think they're really good. I'm not trying to take that away from them. But you remember that 27-yard scamper that Patrick Mahomes had when he was down and out and completely I didn't think there was anything going to happen on this play, and yet he scores a touchdown against the Titans. That's the kind of thing that Mahomes will be able to do. I agree, if they can get after him, then yes. But my counter to what you said is, okay, so the Chiefs like to do certain things that might play into the 49ers' hands on defense. Let's say that, Andy Reid, your X factor that we just talked about, what if he looks at the tape and he says, hey, maybe we'll do a few things a little differently to go against something that would be a weakness for them as opposed to a strength, possibly.
Right, and that's why he is the X factor. That's valid points. I can't say too much about your point about Patrick Mahomes' 27-yard scamper against the Titans, because that plays into another point I have later on.
Okay, all right.
I don't want to spoil it.
Okay.
So
that's fine.
What is your second point why the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl?
So, I think I would say that, and this kind of goes along the first point that I was making. The 49ers have shown in a couple of games that they are able to throw the football and air it out a little bit. You saw that when they played the Saints in New Orleans. But their MO thus far has been more so running the football. And that's kind of how they've done it. In the postseason, they have not asked Jimmy Garoppolo to go out there, be, the guy, win the game, whether it's, Brett Favre, Joe Montana, whoever. He's not that guy. But I think if my first point about the Chiefs stopping the run against Mostert and Coleman and some of these other guys who, let's face it, Mostert had 220 yards against the Packers. So his 278 yards overall in the postseason really don't impress me because the Packers gave him 220 yards. So if Jimmy G has to drop back and has to win the game, I do not have confidence in him to do that. Now, could he prove me wrong? Of course he could prove me wrong. He could be the next Tom Brady and everybody's talking about him and he wins the game and he's the MVP and all this stuff, but I don't see it. And if the Chiefs take that away and they say, Jimmy G, you got to beat us and you got to do it consistently, I don't know. You put the game into his hands. In the end, yes, the defense may win the game for them, but if it's up to Jimmy G winning it, I don't know. Him versus Mahomes, again, our trust factor. We trust Mahomes more than we trust Jimmy G. That's my thought.
All right. So, again, I think we're going to see a theme here where our final thoughts are going to go with the Super Bowl. My next point kind of goes along with yours. The 49ers' commitment to the run game. Now, I understand what you're saying about, Mostert's 220 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, that's all the Packers, yeah.
It was all the one game. But Matt Breida, Tevin Coleman, both ran for over 500 yards in this season. So they have 3 backs that are capable of going in there running. What that allows them to do is they can play action every play. So if the run game is even effective, where they can get you in a 2nd and 5, a 3rd and 3, those short yard situations, you can now play action. Where that way, I think Garoppolo can be more efficient. He doesn't really have to go out there and hit the 60-yard touchdown, the splash plays, where he can just hit Emmanuel Sanders, and Kittle and those receivers for those 5 to 10 yard catches, and just move the sticks. Play that possession football. Keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. The other thing is the patience Shanahan shows in the run game, even when he's trailing. Even when they're trailing, they stick with their game plan. He doesn't panic and abandon the run game. He sticks with it. So if they can do that, they got to be able to do it. If they can do that, get that play action pass game going because of they have that. It's not like the Packers where if Aaron Jones comes out of the game, it's more likely a pass play.
Right. Yeah. Right? It's pretty obvious right there. Yeah. Right. They'll occasionally throw a Jamal Williams run in there, but yeah.
But it's not like the 49ers. It doesn't matter who the back is in there. They can rush the ball.
Yeah.
And be effective with it. So that I think gives the 49ers a great opportunity to keep Mahomes off the field. And not make Garoppolo win the game, but just have to be a manager of the game. Now, everyone's like, oh, manager.
Yep, red alert. Yeah. Red alert. Don't say it. Yeah.
We got to remember this. The Ravens' first Super Bowl title was won with who?
Yeah, Trent Dilfer.
Trent Dilfer.
Yeah.
Which probably... Before he went to Baltimore, won that Super Bowl, we were all laughing our what's off whenever he took the field. I know.
Yeah.
But he was a great manager because the way they played offensive football.
Right.
And I'll tell you right now, Garoppolo's better than Trent Dilfer was.
Yeah, I agree.
So if he can do what Trent Dilfer did, 49ers will win on Sunday.
Yeah, and I mean, to your point, I mean, he only has 208 yards passing so far in the postseason, okay? So he obviously has been in that role. Now, I guess to my point there and why I thought the Chiefs would win is if he does that, right? I mean, he has an interception. He's taken 3 sacks so far. It to me, I guess it's just if the stage overwhelms him and he makes mistakes. And I'm not talking about like Rex Grossman mistakes, because that's just an embarrassment.
Pulls out the Rex Grossman reference.
Pulls out the Grossman.
Ooh.
But just a couple. He doesn't need to make a lot. If he fumbles the ball or he throws an interception and he gives the Chiefs the ball in a key situation, you put Mahomes back out onto the field, then you're behind right there. And I think that's that's something that could happen. I think it could happen. And it's very, I think what I'm saying there is not that it could happen like, oh, there's a possibility because anything could happen. I think it's a high probability of something like that happening because he's just going to look at the moment. It might be a little bit too much for him.
Yeah, we will see. We will see. All right. What is your next point for the Chiefs winning on Sunday?
So, I had a couple of small things, like the Chiefs have been really efficient on third down so far in the postseason, things like that. And I was going to talk about turnover ratio, but both teams are in the plus. So there's really not a lot of advantage one way or the other when it comes to that. Ultimately, they both are on the positive side. So I would say as the other thing that I would want to bring up, Mahomes. So I think we talked about trust factor. We talked about this a little bit, but I think it's going to be a close Super Bowl. That's my thought, right? I mean, I don't think it's going to be a blowout one way or the other. I would say if you have to rely on someone to make a big play at some point during the game to swing the game, you got a guy in Mahomes. And granted, I know he hasn't been in this moment either, but I look at him and I think, yeah, this guy could handle the moment. He's been good in big games. He's going to come up with a play or two where you're going to go, wow, look at that play. That was an amazing play. I mean, obviously your counter is that the 49ers are going to get after him. They're going to bring him down to earth. But I feel like you can have at least 1 or 2 moments in the game where he just goes off, makes a play because, it's a superhuman play and he just does it.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's Mahomes has that knack right now. He's kind of like plays like Favre did in his first couple years, where he just threw up the ball and it would be complete. Or a play would break down, and all of a sudden he would do something, and it would be a positive play for big yards or a touchdown. He kind of reminds me of those first couple of Favre years where we're all like, "Holy cow!"
Right, minus the Vicodin.
Minus the Vicodin. But we have to remember this too. Those plays can easily go the other way. And that leads into my next point for the 49ers. Is that the 49ers have Richard Sherman in the secondary, which has transformed that secondary into kind of a Legion of Boom 2.0 for the 49ers.
I don't know if I go that far, but okay. All right.
But you think about this, okay? Richard Sherman's been there. He's won a Super Bowl. Yep. He's lost a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Okay. He has been probably one of the best secondary players in the league this year. He just doesn't talk the talk. He walks the walk. And I'll tell you right now, he is going to be all over that field on Sunday. Okay, he's going to say he's going to go on that field and he's going to figure out what the Chiefs' game plan is, who they want to try to get to, and that's where he's going. He's not going to care what the defensive coordinator says. I'm taking their best guy. I'm taking their game plan, and I'm taking it away. Okay. Now you also have Emmanuel Mosley that has been playing in the secondary. Very good player also. Their D coordinator, Robert Saleh, finds a way to make good quarterbacks look ordinary. Now, can he do that to Mahomes? Of course, I'm making the argument for the 49ers, so I'm saying
right,
yes,
you
he
are,
can.
yeah.
Because I'm telling you right now, he would have been my number one pick to hire as a head coach this year if I had to hire a head coach.
I want to beat.
Hired.
I want to beat that dead horse, right? I mean, it's dead, but we're just gonna beat it again.
I'm gonna beat that till he's a head coach, and then I'm gonna praise whoever hires the guy.
Oh man. As long as he wins, then you got to distance yourself from it if he sucks, right? Yeah.
But for now,
right?
That's
For
my
now,
guy.
right? Yeah, we got to look like geniuses. Look at this guy; he's so good. Yeah.
You got to remember too. You got Sammy Watkins again, good receiver. I don't think he's a game changer, so I would kind of think Sherman will probably be more on Tyreek Hill a lot. Which, if you can take away Tyreek Hill, that's a big piece. That's a big piece.
But I don't think Richard Sherman can take away Tyreek Hill because Richard Sherman is good and he has changed that defense, but I think he's done it because he's been there before and I think he's lost a step. I mean, he's not as quick as he used to be. He's a little older. So if he can maybe cerebrally reading the offense take away some of their pieces because of where he's on the field position wise. But if Tyreek Hill gets the ball in open space, he's gonna burn Sherman. He's gonna burn anybody on the field, but he's gonna burn him. I mean, he's got too much speed.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Richard Sherman is not just a athletically gifted corner. He is also a very smart corner.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. He can definitely read the offense, see what they're doing. If he knows the game plan, he'll be in the right position to make the play. But if he isn't,
I'll tell you this: he'll at least be in a position where if he thinks Tyreek Hill's going to be in for a touchdown, he's taking the pass interference flag.
Yeah,
he's
probably.
Smart enough to go, I'm going to take the penalty. We're going to continue to play defense, and I'm going to come back and make a play.
Sure.
And if you watch good defensive teams, you have players that think like that. You can't that you. You
got to make the smart play, right? You got to make the smart play.
Pass interference like that. Well, it's not actually
because you're going to get smoked and you don't want to give up a touchdown. Yeah, I get it.
60-yard touchdown or a 25-yard penalty. I'll take the 25-yard penalty and keep playing defense. So I just think that out of anybody that the Chiefs could have faced in the Super Bowl, this is the secondary they did not want to see. Because I'll tell you what, the Vikings, their secondary, average. Packers defense, secondary good, young, they're upcoming. Saints, they're probably above average.
Yeah.
Eagles, let's not even talk about that.
The NFC East deserves nothing from this.
We're not going to talk about the NFC East because they just need to all put bags over their heads right now. So do you have any more reasons why you think the Chiefs will win the Super Bowl this Sunday?
Well, here's the thing. So we talked about this a little bit, right? In terms of what the stats were in terms of what the teams were doing and what they wanted to accomplish. The 49ers have outrushed their opponents in the postseason, but they've given up a lot of passing yards. Now, some of that has to do with maybe a little garbage time, and I get that. And you know what? They've been really good in terms of time of possession. They played their game, but I just feel like the Chiefs have on offense something the 49ers haven't seen yet in the postseason. Now, I mean, we talk about the regular season. Yes, they may have seen that during the regular season, but in the postseason, they haven't. And the Chiefs don't just have one guy on offense that can beat you. And I think that creates some matchup problems for the 49ers. And again, that plays into Andy Reid putting something together to put his guys in the best position to win this game. So you have a Tyreek Hill in space, or you have Travis Kelce, who in and of himself, I mean, I don't think any one guy, even on the 49ers defense, which is great, can cover Travis Kelce one-on-one. So you have multiple guys there that it's going to be very difficult for the 49ers to match up. They hadn't seen that from the Packers. The Packers are, there's only a couple guys on the Packers that can do anything. Well, okay, one receiver-wise, one running back. The Chiefs have more guys than that. And the Vikings, I mean, they're the Vikings. So whatever. They don't have the offensive firepower, but the Chiefs do. So I think that the rules favor an offense over a defense, unless the defense is generationally good. And I don't think this defense is generationally good. They're good, but I don't think they're one of those, we're going to talk about this defense in 20 years like the 85 Bears or the 00 Ravens. So I just feel like the offense has the slight edge because they have so many skill players that can touch the football and make something out of it.
Okay. Yeah, and that's a valid point. And again, you look at the 49ers. It is definitely going to be two drastically different offensive game plans.
Oh, yeah. Totally different styles. Yep.
You look at the 49ers offensive line. They had to go up against the Rams, who, yes, the Rams were down, but their defensive line was still strong. They had Aaron Donald in there, so that's a decent defensive line.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Go up against the Seahawks twice.
Yep.
They had to play the Ravens. They played the Saints. They played the Packers, who have had twice, who had their defensive line is probably their strength of their defense.
Yeah, for sure.
And, yes, Minnesota's, probably average defensively, but they did have their front end was solid.
Yeah, and they get Danielle Hunter, and they're good on up front. Yeah, for sure.
And so even with facing those teams, at the end of the season, their offensive line, and this is through Pro Football Focus rankings, ranked 14th of the 32 teams overall as a unit. So, they take, getting,
how many sacks you give up,
sacks, rushes, hits on the quarterback, all that stuff. Now, they are, everybody talked about the 49ers offense taking a dip and their performance dipping towards the end of the regular season. Well, they had injuries on defense. They lost Joe Staley, who was back for the postseason.
Right.
Okay. He has only allowed 7 pressures in 240 pass blocking snaps during the regular season. 7. That's tremendous.
Yeah.
I look at the Kansas City's defensive line. Yes, they're aggressive, but I don't know if there's that one guy there that you would say, I have to chip them or bring help over to Joe Staley to help. Unlike the Chiefs, I think they're either going to have to roll Mahomes out away from Bosa, or they're going to have to bring help. Because if they try to block Bosa one-on-one, it's going to be a long day for that tackle. Or both tackles, because they move Bosa around. That's the other thing. You can't say, well, we're always going to roll Mahomes to the left because Bosa's always on our right. They move him around so much, you don't know. And then sometimes he drops back in pass coverage, and then he still can come up and make a tackle for a run, a tackle on a run play for a gain of maybe 1 or 2. So he's such a dynamic player that I think that's going to be interesting to watch. But I think that the 49ers offensive line, and I'm not saying they're better than the Chiefs offensive line, But for what they want to try to do, which is control the ball, again, I must keep saying it. Keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands.
You're a broken record.
I think that their offensive line matches up really well against the Chiefs' defensive line to be able to do that. They did it all year. They faced some very good defensive lines. It'll be interesting to see if they can execute that game plan. I think, again, that's my argument, that I think they can, in my argument. And that's another reason why I think the 49ers would come out on top this Sunday.
Sure.
So, any other arguments before we get to our picks? Because we got about 13 minutes to go.
Okay.
In our time, so we can get into our picks, because there are a few things that have transpired over the last couple of days in the NFL with some pending big name free agents.
True. Yeah.
That we could talk about. So anything?
Yeah,
else
I was just gonna say. You don't want to talk about the ultimate X factor in the entire game, which is Terrell Suggs on the Chiefs making one last hurrah.
I think he's just happy to be there, to be honest.
I was gonna say, I think that's about all you get for Terrell Suggs.
If I'll tell you what, though, if the Chiefs can get the 49ers in 3rd and long, you put Suggs in there, he'll give her for a play here and there.
Oh yeah.
But he's just got to understand, your body can only play the game for so long.
For so long, exactly. Yeah.
Before you have to say, I've had a great career.
I'm done. Yeah.
But so nothing else. Just want to make sure we are done with our arguments.
I think we're good. Yep.
All right. So, who wants to go first here?
You go ahead. You make the case. You talk about who you think is going to win.
I was tasked with making the case for the 49ers, so I did.
Yep.
That is not my pick. I am picking the Chiefs in this game.
Okay.
Basically, for everything that you said. I think their offense is just too dynamic. Yeah. Even if you get pressure on Mahomes, he will get outside the pocket, make plays with his legs, and then if the secondary comes up to try to tackle him, he's going to throw the ball over the top for big plays. Right. Putting pressure on him is playing into his game.
Right.
I think you want to make him sit in the pocket and have to throw the ball. And that's where I think teams that have beaten the Chiefs this year have done that. And I know, like, the Packers beat them, and they can say, oh, Mahomes went out. But they were right in that game at that point. It wasn't. I mean,
honestly, that was the best game I've ever seen Matt Moore play in his entire career.
Right, exactly.
Let's be clear.
Exactly. Yeah. But what they did was they made it a physical football game up front and kept Mahomes in the pocket. They didn't let him escape outside the pocket. And you saw him uncomfortable sitting in the pocket for long periods of time. Not saying he can't do it, but when they're trying to throw the ball downfield 15, 20 yards, it takes time. And the Packers weren't allowing him to slide the pocket. He had to sit back, make throws. So how aggressive the 49ers are plays right into his game plan. Now, again, solid, great defensive coordinator. My pick for my head coach right now. But I like the playmakers that the Chiefs have. They have a running back that can make big plays, a receiver that can make big plays. They have a tight end that can make big plays, and a quarterback that can make big plays. How do you stop it all? How do you stop it?
Yeah.
So, my final prediction, and I don't really even know the score will be. I think this will be roughly the spread. I don't even know if it'll truly be this close. I think some of these points are garbage points. Chiefs 29, 49ers 18. Chiefs, I don't think it's close. I think they're probably up by like 19 in the fourth quarter. 49ers get 7 to 10 points in the final quarter to make it look close, but I really don't know if it's going to be that close of a game.
Wow. Okay. I think it's going to be closer. Well, obviously, I made the case for the Chiefs. That was what I was tasked with. Went out there, did that. You made some really, really good points about the 49ers. And I think for them, what you run into is, they're really going to try to control the clock and maintain the football for as long as they can and keep it out of Mahomes' hands. And that's what they've done in their first two games. I mean, the time of possession is lopsided as you could be for those first two games. That's been their strength. But the Chiefs don't need long. The Titans played that game against the Chiefs, and they were up against the Chiefs big. But in the end, when you needed to do it, the Chiefs came out and they scored super quick, and they're good at doing that. I'm going to go with the Chiefs too. I mean, I think in this case, I think it'll be a little bit closer just because I feel like there'll be a time where the 49ers may be able to lock down the game a little bit, run the football, take some time off the clock. But again, the Chiefs are just too explosive. Even with that defense, I think, yes, defense can win championships. They're not a transformational defense. This offense has too many weapons, and I just think that they're going to there's too much there. So I happen to agree with you. I think it's going to be closer, though. I would say 27-20 or 27-23. I think it's going to be a closer game, but the Chiefs will prevail.
All right. So there you have it, folks. We're both taking the Chiefs. Little bit of discrepancy in the score and the spread of the game.
Yeah.
But we both think the Chiefs will end their championship drought, and the 49ers will yet again.
Before either one of us was alive, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
And the 49er fans will still be waiting to relive it'll be the Steve Young.
That's right. Yep, Joe 1994.
Yep. Remember the last time the 49ers were in the Super Bowl, you had Colin Kaepernick being your quarterback.
That's right. Yeah.
That was a fun couple seasons after that for the 49ers. So hopefully this is not a repeat performance at quarterback for them. But I don't think it will be.
So.
I think Jimmy G is a little bit different temperament of quarterback.
Temperament is probably the best word, yeah.
So we do have a few minutes. So a couple big things that happened this week. First, and they both involve quarterbacks. I don't know how much you read, the media about this. First one, rumors of Phillip Rivers. He is no longer going to be in the Chargers' plans. That has been been brought out.
I thought that would be the case, honestly.
And the article that I read said he had links to a team in Florida, and I immediately it came to my mind what the team was. He moved to Florida.
Yep.
What did you read that article?
I didn't. No, I did not.
So he moved to Florida, and he's linked to the rumors are being linked to a certain team in Florida that he is interested in joining.
Sure.
Who do you think?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is of course Tampa Bay. That would come to my mind. Yeah.
That is it. And I'll tell you what, if that happens, the Buccaneers become legit.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this, right? I mean, this is the far-fetched scenario that we were talking about how Matthew Stafford could end up in Tampa Bay, which we both know probably would never happen, but it'd be cool if it did. Right. But now, hey, you get a guy like Phillip Rivers there in Bruce Arians' offense.
Right. And you also get a quarterback that can actually throw the ball and manage the game and be a great team leader.
Right.
With the talent that they have offensively and defensively.
Oh man,
there.
Receiver wise too. Yeah, just insane.
I'll tell you right now, that NFC South would be really interesting next year.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if that one happens. Second one, and I just read this like half an hour ago, and I was like, really? Really? I don't know if it's going to happen. I have my doubts. I think this might be just, some people putting some stuff out there on the internet. But they have Tom Brady has moved to Las Vegas.
Oh boy.
And the rumors are that he may join the Las Vegas Raiders.
Wow. Wow.
So, could you see this happening? Do you think this could actually happen?
No. I mean, they're not gonna. No. Okay. So they got to give up on Carr then, right? They got to be like, you know what? We're done with you. Goodbye. We want Tom Brady. Which I would want Tom Brady if he wasn't 50 years old, but. He's too
50.
old.
Come on.
I know. He's 42 or whatever, but still, he's past his prime. You're the Raiders, right? Okay, you're building for the future. You put together a bunch of draft picks, and you got yourself out there. You had an okay season. It wasn't great, but next year you have high expectations. You bring in a guy like him, it's more of a, hey, we want one guy for 1 year, maybe as a stopgap, or maybe to bring us the glory that we think we need. They're just not in a position to have somebody. I don't see it. I don't see it.
But I will tell you this. Jon Gruden is not a huge Carr fan.
Yeah.
He has not been from day one.
That's
he
true.
has been trying to make a deal for a quarterback. He has brought in so many cut quarterbacks or backup quarterbacks to see if he could find somebody to replace Carr. That if he could get Tom Brady for 1 or 2 seasons and draft a guy this year, he would do it.
Yeah, he's probably would.
He's got 8 more years on his contract. That's guaranteed. He's not going anywhere. And with the moves that he made that he was ridiculed for, by trading Amari Cooper, Khalil Mack, and now being on the precipice of the playoffs this year when nobody thought they were going to be any good. Nobody's going to question him if he cuts Carr and signs Tom Brady.
Well, okay.
Nobody.
Nobody? Come on. No, that's just ludicrous. Nobody's going to question him. I'd question him. Are you kidding me?
I don't think so. I think that he has built his stock up with Raiders fans.
Oh, boy.
They're like, oh, yeah, great move. Great move.
I'll tell you this.
You got to remember, too, they're going to be in Las Vegas.
Oh, I know. I get it.
You don't think the Las Vegas people would love to have Tom Brady in town?
Of course they would. But is that more fluff and hype than substance? I mean, Tom Brady is not who he used to be.
I understand that, but I'm just.
It's kind of like the whole Antonio Brown thing, you know. I mean, that was a failed experiment.
Well, let's be honest. I don't see Antonio Brown ever playing in the league again.
He won't. No, he will never play in the league.
He is in that category of Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
Go get yourself healthy. Live the rest of your life. Don't worry about football because you can't be any benefit to a team with the mental state you're in right now. You just can't. So But it'll be interesting. As we say, next week, obviously we will react to the Super Bowl. I don't know how much time we'll spend on it.
Sure.
But then we're gonna start diving into NFL free agency.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to get through the NFL free agency before the end of February because we have to focus on March Madness.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah.
So, and that will take time because I think we have to talk about both the men's and women's brackets. Plus,
I think that's fair. Yeah.
NCAA hockey. That is some fun stuff. Especially the area that I live in Wisconsin, it's big hockey area. So, it's something that, I think we talk about those, in the February, we'll have some good shows here. So
I think so.
We will see in less than 48 hours, right? Yes. Less than 48 hours. We will have the Super Bowl champion.
Yep.
And then everybody will be, yay, and then, all right, free agency.
Right. It's hard when the NFL season ends. I mean, it's one of those really long-standing things. Everybody loves football, and then, everybody's like, oh my gosh, what are we supposed to do now? There's other sports. We'll definitely get into a lot of other things, but, it's just like that's the big sport, right? So
right. And again, like I said, we will start previewing divisions. We'll go division by division, talk about each team, their needs, their some moves that we think that would be really good for
beneficial.
Like we're talking about Detroit trading Stafford.
Right. Yeah.
Be beneficial. Will it ever happen? Probably not.
Probably not. But,
we'll get into that when we get to the NFC North. But things like that. So everybody enjoy the Super Bowl. Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs. That's right. That's our pick. Let's go Chiefs.
Have a great
Casey all the way.
Wolf, we will text or chat later this weekend to get next week's show
all set up. Yep.
And we got to finalize our trips to Las Vegas, everybody, because we are going to be in Las Vegas this summer, and we will be doing a show in Las Vegas.
Can't go wrong there.
Maybe poolside with some cocktails. So it could get interesting.
It might get a little crazy. You never know. It's Vegas.
That's okay. So if anybody that listens that's in the Vegas area, when we're out there, if you want to come be live with us, because that'll be our first dual live show where we're in the same location at the same time.
Yes.
So that will be a lot of fun. More details on that to come. But everybody have a great night. Thanks for joining in. If you remember, you can listen to us here on Podbean, Spotify, YouTube, and also follow us on Facebook. Podbean, we can only have so much, so eventually our older shows will come off, but all our shows will remain on the YouTube, our YouTube channel, which is Smack Talk. And you can get them there whenever. So please enjoy. Please support us. We are going to keep doing this no matter how many people we have.
That's right.
Listen,
it's just fun. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. So everybody enjoy the Super Bowl. Again, one more time. Go Chiefs. Have a great night.
Go Chiefs. Night.